You want to change your life? Then start by controlling the things that control you. Too many people go through life on autopilot, reacting, complaining, justifying, excusing, and then they wonder why they don't have the results they want. Success, fulfillment, peace, freedom. They all come down to 4 areas. If you can master your mouth, your mood, your money, and your mind, you can master your destiny. Let's start with your mouth. Words are not just sounds. They are weapons, and they are medicine, they are seeds. Every word you speak is either planting possibility or poisoning potential. Think about how many times people destroy relationships, opportunities, and trust just because they couldn't control their tongue. Your words can lift someone to believe again, or they can cut so deep they never recover. You don't even realize the power you have in every sentence you release. The truth is, if you want a better future, you've got to discipline your mouth. Speak less, listen more. Speak intention, not reaction. When you say something, make sure it builds instead of breaks. Don't just communicate, create, because your language shapes your reality. Now let's talk about your mood. Your emotions are like weather. For most people, they're completely unpredictable. Sunny one moment, storming the next. But here's the thing, if you let your mood dictate your actions, you'll never get consistency, and without consistency, you'll never get results. The most successful people don't wait to feel good to take action. They master their state. They know how to break the pattern. They change their physiology. They shift their focus. They redirect their energy. When you control your mood, you stop being a prisoner of your emotions and start becoming the commander of your life. Ask yourself right now, am I running my emotions or are my emotions running me? If you can learn to step and change your breath, change your posture, change your story, you can change everything in seconds. Your mood is fuel, and you have to choose whether it drives you forward or leaves you stranded. Then there's your money. Money is a tool, but for most people it's a trap. They don't control it, it controls them. They spend what they don't have on things they don't need to impress people they don't even like. And then they wonder why they're stressed. Listen, if you don't tell your money where to go, it will decide for you. If you don't control your spending, your saving, your investing, you'll live in scarcity even if you make a fortune. Wealth is not about what you earn. It's about what you keep and what you grow. It's about using money to create freedom, not chains. Discipline with money is discipline with life. Stop trading your future for temporary pleasure. Stop feeding your ego and start feeding your future. When you control your money, you're not just creating wealth, you're creating security, stability, and the ability to serve something bigger than yourself. And finally, the most important, your mind. This is the battlefield. This is where every victory is won or lost before you ever take a step. Your mind can be your prison or your power. Most people have no idea how much garbage they allow to run on repeat in their heads. Old stories, limiting beliefs, excuses, fears. If you don't discipline your mind, it will default to survival. And survival will never give you fulfillment. You have to feed your mind with empowering thoughts, powerful questions, and new standards. You've got to train it every day the way an athlete trains their body. Protect it, guard it, direct it. Because where focus goes, energy flows. And where energy flows, results grow. If you want to transform your life, start by transforming what you focus on, what you believe, and what you decide in your mind. Control your mouth, your mood, your money, and your mind. And you won't just control your life, you'll create it. Your mouth is one of the most powerful tools you have been given, and yet most people underestimate the impact of the words that leave their lips. Every sentence, every phrase, every expression that escapes from your mouth carries energy, and that energy either builds or destroys. Think about it for a moment. How many times have you heard someone speak and immediately felt inspired, uplifted, and ready to move forward? On the other hand, how many times have you heard someone speak and it left you feeling discouraged, diminished, or doubting yourself? The truth is, language is not just communication, it is creation. The mouth is the steering wheel of your destiny, and if you don't learn to control it, you will end up in places you never intended to be. The way you use your mouth influences your relationships, your opportunities, your career, and even your sense of self-worth. Words can open doors and words can slam them shut. Most people use their mouth reactively. They speak without thinking. They lash out when they are angry. They gossip when they are bored. They complain when they are frustrated, and they justify when they feel guilty. In doing so, and they are programming their lives with negativity without even realizing it. Every time you speak, you are reinforcing either discipline or chaos. When you criticize, complain, or curse, you are feeding a cycle of destruction. But when you encourage, affirm, and declare, you are feeding a cycle of growth. The difference between someone who builds an extraordinary life and someone who feels stuck often comes down to the discipline of the mouth. The question is not just what you say to others, but also what you say to yourself. Your internal dialogue, the quiet words you whisper in your own head, shape the beliefs you hold and the actions you take. If your mouth constantly tells your mind that you are not good enough, you will live like someone who isn't good enough. If your mouth speaks possibility, your body will move toward possibility. Consider how many conflicts in life are born from the inability to control the mouth. Relationships are destroyed because of harsh words spoken in a moment of anger. Careers are lost because of careless words said to the wrong person. Opportunities are missed because people talk themselves out of them with self-doubt. On the flip side, leaders are made because they know how to use their mouth to inspire others. Entrepreneurs succeed because they know how to use their words to cast vision and create belief. People build strong, lasting relationships because they choose to use their words as glue, not as scissors. The mouth is a weapon, and you must decide every day if you will use it to defend and build or to attack and destroy. The discipline of controlling your mouth is not about silence. It is about strategy. It is not about saying less. It is about saying better. Some people think that controlling their mouth means holding everything in, but that is not true. It means choosing the right words at the right time in the right way. It means pausing before you react and considering whether your words will heal or harm, whether they will ignite or extinguish. It means asking yourself if what you are about to say is true, necessary, and constructive. If it is not, why waste the power of your mouth on it? If it is, and then speak it with conviction and clarity, because those words will carry weight. Another element of controlling your mouth is learning to use it as a tool for affirmation and declaration. When you wake up in the morning and the first words out of your mouth set the tone for your day, if the first thing you say is, I'm tired, or I don't want to do this, you are already programming yourself to move sluggishly and reluctantly. But if the first thing you say is, today I will bring energy, today I will create opportunities, today I will make progress, you are programming your mind and body to align with that declaration. It is not magic, it is focus. Your mouth trains your mind, and your mind directs your actions. By controlling your mouth, you are controlling the script of your life. Think about leaders, coaches, teachers, parents, those who have influenced you most in life. It wasn't just what they did, it was what they said. Their words had power because they were intentional, consistent, and aligned with action. You have the same ability. Every day, your mouth has the power to shape the culture of your family, the energy of your workplace, the confidence of your friends, and the path of your own future. If you learn to discipline it, you will be the kind of person who builds others, creates opportunity, and attracts respect. If you fail to discipline it, you risk becoming the kind of person who destroys trust, repels opportunity, and undermines your own potential. Complaining is one of the biggest masseuses of the mouth. When you complain, you are reinforcing problems rather than creating solutions. You are amplifying the negative and magnifying what you don't want. Complaining doesn't change the situation. It changes you. It makes you weaker, less resourceful, and less attractive to opportunity. On the other hand, gratitude is one of the most powerful uses of the mouth. When you express gratitude, you shift your perspective. You focus on what is working, and by focusing on it, you expand it. Gratitude spoken out loud rewires your brain to see possibility and abundance instead of limitation and lack. Another misuse of the mouth is gossip. When you gossip, you waste your energy tearing someone else down instead of building yourself up. Gossip destroys credibility and poisons environments. It may feel harmless in the moment, but it erodes trust in ways you may not see immediately. The opposite of gossip is encouragement. When you use your mouth to encourage, you deposit energy into others. You build loyalty, you build trust, you build influence. People are drawn to those who consistently use their mouth to uplift. There is also the matter of honesty. And controlling your mouth does not mean lying or avoiding truth. It means delivering truth with wisdom. There is a way to say anything if you are willing to take responsibility for how you say it. Honesty without compassion is brutality, but honesty with compassion is clarity. The person who controls their mouth learns how to deliver truth in a way that builds bridges rather than burns them. They understand that tone, timing, and intention are just as important as the words themselves. Even in silence, the mouth plays a role. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is nothing at all. Silence can diffuse conflict, create space for thought, and demonstrate restraint. Choosing not to react when provoked is one of the greatest demonstrations of strength. Just because someone else loses control of their mouth doesn't mean you need to lose control of yours. In fact, controlling your mouth in those moments is exactly what separates the average from the extraordinary. Your mouth is a tool for vision. Speak your goals out loud. Declare your intentions. Tell people where you're going and why. There is power in verbalizing your future. It makes it real, it makes you accountable, and it sets in motion the energy to make it happen. Don't just think about success, talk about it. Don't just imagine growth, declare it. Your words are a commitment, and when you hear them leave your lips, they become a contract with yourself. If you want to change your life, start by changing your language. Listen to the words you use every day. Replace "I can't" with "I will find a way." Replace "it's too hard" with "this is a challenge I can handle." Replace "I'm unlucky" with "I'm learning." Every replacement shifts the trajectory of your life. Words are the paintbrush of your future, and you are the artist. Control your mouth, and you will design the life you want rather than live the one you settle for. And your mood is the invisible engine that drives the way you show up in the world, and yet most people let it be tossed around like a leaf in the wind. They wake up, check their phone, see some bad news, and suddenly their mood is destroyed. Someone cuts them off in traffic, and they carry that frustration into their day. A conversation doesn't go the way they want, and their mood crashes, pulling their energy, focus, and productivity down with it. The mistake is believing that moods are random or uncontrollable. The truth is your mood is a reflection of your state, and your state is something you can master. And when you learn to take command of your mood, you stop being a slave to circumstances and start being the creator of your own experience. Think about the times you performed at your best. Maybe it was in sports, in business, in a conversation, or in a moment when everything seemed to click. You weren't just in a good situation. You were in a good mood. Your energy was high. Your confidence was strong. Your focus was sharp. The external world didn't put you in that mood. You put yourself there. The same applies when you failed or when things went badly. It wasn't just the situation that determined the outcome. It was the mood you carried into it. If you felt frustrated, defeated, or powerless, your actions reflected that and the results followed. The pattern is simple. Mood drives action, action drives outcome, and outcome reinforces mood. If you don't interrupt the cycle, you get trapped in the same results again and again. One of the most powerful realizations is that mood is not who you are. It is something you experience. Too many people say, "I'm angry" or "I'm sad," as if that emotion defines them. But in reality, you are not anger. You are not sadness. You are the one experiencing them. When you separate your identity from your mood, you gain the freedom to change it. You may feel angry, but you don't have to stay angry. You may feel discouraged, but you don't have to remain discouraged. You are bigger than your mood, and once you believe that, You can shift it in an instant. The fastest way to change your mood is to change your body. Your physiology and your emotions are deeply connected. Slouch your shoulders, lower your head, take shallow breaths, and you will feel defeated almost instantly. Stand tall, breathe deeply, move your body with energy, and your mood will shift upward. Most people underestimate this simple truth. They try to think their way out of a bad mood, but thought alone rarely works when your body is sending the opposite signals. You must move differently, breathe differently, change your posture, use your voice, and in doing so, your mood begins to realign. Just a few minutes of intense movement, whether it's exercise, dancing, or even powerfully changing your stance, can radically shift the way you feel. The second key to controlling your mood is focus. What you focus on determines how you feel. Focus on what's missing and you'll feel lack. Focus on what's wrong and you'll feel frustrated. Focus on what you can't control and you'll feel powerless. But focus on what you already have, on what's working, on what you can do right now, and your mood will begin to lift. Where focus goes, energy flows. If you don't control your focus, your environment will do it for you. That's why so many people feel drained, because they hand their attention to every notification, every headline, every distraction. But the person who chooses their focus chooses their mood. You can decide to look for opportunity in the middle of chaos. You can decide to find gratitude in the middle of struggle. You can decide to focus on what moves you forward instead of what holds you back. That decision is the essence of controlling your mood. Language is another tool that either traps you in your mood or liberates you from it. The words you use to describe your feelings magnify them. If you say, "I'm devastated," your body and mind respond with intensity. If you say, "I'm a little disappointed," you experience the situation differently. The event may be the same, but the language changes the meaning, and the meaning changes the mood. People who consistently use extreme negative language stay stuck in negative moods because they are reinforcing the experience. But if you soften the language or reframe it, your mood shifts with it. Imagine saying, "I'm overwhelmed," versus saying, "I'm challenged." One disempowers you, the other activates you. By controlling your words, you are controlling the way your brain interprets reality, and in turn, you are controlling your mood. Patterns of thought also play a critical role. Everyone has habitual questions they ask themselves, often unconsciously, and those questions determine mood. Questions like, "Why does this always happen to me?" create moods of helplessness and frustration. But questions like, "What can I learn from this? How can I use this? What's good about this?" create moods of empowerment and growth. The quality of your mood depends on the quality of the questions you ask yourself. If you want to live in better moods, change your habitual questions. Your environment influences your mood, but you are not powerless to it. The people you surround yourself with, the spaces you spend time in, the music you listen to, the content you consume, all of it affects the state you live in. If you are constantly surrounded by negativity, complaining, or drama, it will infect your mood no matter how strong you are. On the other hand, if you surround yourself with uplifting people, inspiring messages, and environments that energize you, your mood naturally rises. Being intentional with your environment is part of taking control of your mood. You can't spend time in toxic places and expect to feel vibrant. You can't listen to constant negativity and expect to feel hopeful. You must curate the influences around you so that they support the moods you want to live in. Rituals are one of the most effective ways to control your mood. When you create consistent practices that elevate your state, you don't leave your mood to chance. Morning rituals like movement, gratitude, affirmations, or meditation prepare you to start your day with energy and clarity. Evening rituals like reflection, planning, or winding down with intention prepare you to rest with peace. These rituals build a foundation that makes it easier to maintain control even when challenges come. Without rituals, you are at the mercy of whatever happens around you. With rituals, you are prepared to respond from strength instead of react from weakness. There will always be situations that attempt to hijack your mood. Conflict, setbacks, unexpected challenges, they are part of life. And the difference between those who thrive and those who crumble is not whether challenges come, but how they choose to feel in the midst of them. If you allow every challenge to dictate your mood, you will ride an endless emotional roller coaster. But if you decide that your mood is your responsibility and you will find power even in the middle of difficulty, that doesn't mean you ignore emotions or pretend everything is fine. It means you acknowledge what you feel, but you refuse to let that feeling become your master. Controlling your mood is about building resilience. It's about knowing that no matter what happens, you have the ability to shift your state, to rise above circumstances, and to choose a mood that serves you. It's about recognizing that life will not always give you what you want, but you can always give yourself the energy, perspective, and mindset to respond in a way that moves you forward. It's about learning that your emotions are messengers, not rulers. They are signals that can guide you, but they do not have to chain you. When you take ownership of your mood, you reclaim your power to live intentionally instead of reactively. Money is one of the greatest sources of stress and one of the greatest sources of freedom, depending on whether you control it or it controls you. For most people, money feels like a constant battle. They chase it, they fear losing it, they spend it carelessly, and then they lie awake at night worrying about it. Money is not just paper, coins, or numbers on a screen. It is energy, it is choice, it is leverage, and it is a reflection of your habits and mindset. The way you handle money reveals the way you handle life. If you are careless with money, chances are you are careless in other areas. If you are disciplined with money, that discipline shows up everywhere. Money is not the ultimate goal, but it is the tool that makes many goals possible. And if you want to live a life of freedom, impact, and security, you must learn to control it instead of letting it control you. One of the biggest mistakes people make with money is believing that more of it will automatically solve their problems. They think if they could just earn more, everything would change. But the truth is, income doesn't guarantee security or freedom. How many stories have you heard of lottery winners who end up broke within a few years? How many professional athletes or celebrities make millions and yet find themselves bankrupt? Earning more without learning discipline is like pouring water into a bucket full of holes. It doesn't matter how much goes in, it all leaks out. Controlling money starts with mindset, not with income. It begins with developing habits of budgeting, saving, and investing that create a foundation for stability no matter what your earnings are. Most people live in a cycle of consumption. The moment they get paid, they start spending. They upgrade their phone, buy clothes, go out, chase the feeling of status or comfort, and then they wonder why they feel stuck. Consumption may bring temporary pleasure, but does not build lasting security. The key is shifting from consumption to creation. Instead of asking, what can I buy with this money? Ask, what can this money build for me? Every dollar you spend is either a step toward freedom or a step toward slavery. When you use money to create assets, whether it's savings, investments, skills, or businesses, you are building something that can grow and provide for you in the future. When you use money to only satisfy immediate desires, you are trading tomorrow for today. Controlling money is also about awareness. Many people don't even know where their money goes. They spend without tracking, and at the end of the month, they are surprised to find their accounts empty. You cannot manage what you do not measure. A simple habit of tracking expenses, categorizing spending, and reviewing where your money goes can change everything. Awareness creates responsibility, and responsibility creates control. When you see that you are spending more on things that don't truly matter than on things that build your future, you gain the power to make new choices. Another part of controlling money is mastering your emotions around it. Money is tied to deep feelings: fear, pride, shame, envy, desire, and these emotions can make people act irrationally. Fear of missing out drives impulsive purchases. Fear of loss prevents people from investing wisely. Pride leads people to buy things they cannot afford just to look successful. Envy makes people compare themselves to others and chase lifestyles that are not sustainable. Controlling money means controlling the emotions that surround it. It means reminding yourself that money is not status, not identity, not validation. It is simply a tool, and like any tool, its effectiveness depends on the hands that use it. Wealth is not about how much you earn, but about how much you keep and grow. Saving is not about deprivation, it is about preparation. Investing is not about gambling, it is about multiplying what you already have. The person who controls their money has both short-term discipline and long-term vision. They create a budget not to limit themselves, but to liberate themselves. They save not because they are afraid of spending, but because they understand the value of security. They invest not because they want quick wins, but because they know the power of compound growth. Every decision with money is a choice between immediate gratification and long-term freedom. Those who consistently choose freedom build lives of abundance. Those who consistently choose gratification live in cycles of stress. Debt is one of the clearest examples of money controlling people. When you spend more than you earn, you are borrowing from your future self. Debt can be useful if managed wisely and used to create assets, but when it is used for consumption, it becomes a chain. Credit cards, loans, unnecessary payments, they all eat away at future possibilities. Controlling your money means refusing to be a slave to debt, and it means making hard choices now to create freedom later. It means understanding that every time you say yes to debt for something you don't truly need, you are saying no to opportunities and peace of mind in the future. Generosity is another powerful part of controlling money. Many people think giving is only for the rich, but the truth is generosity is a mindset, not a bank balance. When you give, you send a signal to yourself that you have enough, that you live in abundance. That money is not your master. Generosity breaks the grip of greed and fear. It allows you to use money not just for yourself, but to impact others. When you control money, you are free to give without fear because you know that your stability does not depend on holding tightly, but on managing wisely. Controlling money is not about living small or denying yourself joy. It is about aligning your spending with your values. If experiences bring you fulfillment, spend on experiences instead of things. If growth excites you, spend on education and skills. If family is your priority, spend on creating memories with them. But cut out the spending that is unconscious, reactive, or designed only to impress others. Every dollar has a purpose, and when you assign that purpose with intention, your money works for you instead of against you. The people who control their money are not always the ones with the highest income. They are the ones who understand the principles of discipline, awareness, and growth. They live below their means not because they have to, but because it gives them the ability to create options. They invest not because they are chasing wealth, but because they are building freedom. They save not because they are fearful, but because they are wise. They give not because they have excess, but because they understand that money multiplies when it flows. Money is a mirror. It reflects your priorities, your self-control, your values, and your vision. Look at where your money goes, and you will see what you truly care about, whether you admit it or not. If you want to change your life, change the way you direct your money. Control it with clarity, discipline, and purpose, and it will become a tool that expands your life instead of limiting it. If you let it control you, it will magnify your weaknesses and keep you trapped in cycles of stress and scarcity. If you control it, you gain not just wealth, but the power to live life on your own terms. The mind is the most powerful force you will ever have access to, yet for most people it becomes their greatest prison instead of their greatest freedom. Every action you take, every decision you make, every emotion you experience begins in the mind. Your mind is where beliefs are built, where stories are told, where focus is directed, and where possibilities are either unlocked or destroyed. If you don't take control of your mind, it will run on autopilot, replaying old patterns, repeating limiting beliefs, and recycling fears from the past. The tragedy is not that people don't have potential, it's that they don't control the place where potential is shaped. Your mind is constantly talking to you. The question is, who is in charge of that conversation? For many, the inner voice is filled with doubt, criticism, and excuses. It repeats the words of parents, teachers, peers, or past failures, and it convinces them that they are not enough. That inner voice becomes a dictator if left unchecked, dictating what they try, what they risk, what they expect from themselves. Controlling the mind means interrupting that voice and reprogramming it with intention. It means choosing what you believe rather than accepting what you were conditioned to believe. It means refusing to let your thoughts wander aimlessly and instead directing them toward visions and goals that empower you. The quality of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts. Two people can face the same circumstance and one will see opportunity while the other sees disaster. The difference is not the circumstance, it is the mindset. When you control your mind, you control the meaning you give to events, and meaning is everything. Failure is not failure unless your mind labels it that way. Setbacks are not the end unless your mind decides they are. The way you interpret life is the way you live life, and that interpretation begins in the mind. If you discipline your mind to look for lessons, possibilities, and growth, every experience becomes fuel for progress. One of the ways the mind sabotages people is through focus. Whatever you consistently focus on expands in your reality. If your mind is fixated on problems, obstacles, and fears, then that is all you will see, and you will act in ways that reinforce them. If your mind is directed towards solutions, opportunities, and outcomes, you will notice them and act accordingly. The mind filters reality based on what you tell it to look for. Controlling your mind means mastering your focus. It means asking yourself, what am I choosing to see? Am I focusing on what I can control or on what I cannot? Am I focusing on what empowers me or on what paralyzes me? Your focus is like a flashlight in a dark room. Whatever you shine it on becomes your reality, and whatever you ignore disappears into the background. Beliefs are another part of controlling the mind. Beliefs are nothing more than thoughts you've repeated enough times that they feel like truth. Some beliefs empower you, others limit you. If you believe you are capable, you will take actions aligned with that belief. If you believe you are unworthy, you will sabotage yourself no matter how much potential you have. Most beliefs are inherited, picked up from childhood, culture, or past experiences, but they are not permanent. Controlling your mind means challenging those beliefs and replacing them with ones that serve you. It means asking, is this belief helping me or hurting me? Is this belief based on truth or on fear? Is this belief moving me toward the life I want or keeping me stuck where I am? The person who controls their mind does not just accept every belief that shows up, they interrogate it, reshape it, and intentionally plant new ones. Another way the mind can control you is through the stories you tell yourself. Humans are storytelling creatures. We don't just remember facts, we weave them into narratives. Something happens and instantly the mind creates a story about what it means. If someone leaves you, your mind may tell you the story that you are unlovable. If you fail at something, your mind may tell you the story that you are not capable. But those stories are not truth, they are interpretations, and interpretations can be rewritten. Controlling your mind means rewriting your stories. Instead of telling yourself you are unlovable, tell the story that you are learning who deserves your love. Instead of telling yourself you are incapable, and tell the story that failure is evidence you are trying, and trying is the path to mastery. The mind will always tell stories. Your job is to make sure the stories serve your growth instead of sabotage it. Training the mind is like training a muscle. Left unattended, it becomes weak, scattered, and easily fatigued. But if you train it daily, it becomes strong, sharp, and resilient. You train the mind through practices like meditation, visualization, journaling, reading, and learning. Each of these disciplines directs your thoughts instead of leaving them random. Meditation teaches you to observe your thoughts without being controlled by them. Visualization programs your brain to move toward your goals by rehearsing success in your mind. Journaling helps you organize thoughts and reframe experiences. And reading feeds your mind with new ideas and perspectives. Learning stretches your mental capacity and keeps you adaptable, Training your mind is not optional if you want to live at a high level. It is essential. Your environment plays a massive role in shaping your mind. The conversations you listen to, the people you spend time with, the content you consume, all of it feeds your mental diet. If your mind is constantly fed negativity, drama, and fear, it will reflect that. If your mind is fed inspiration, education, and positivity, it will reflect that too. Controlling your mind means controlling what you allow into it. It means being ruthless about the influences you expose yourself to. And just as you wouldn't eat food that poisons your body, you shouldn't consume ideas that poison your thoughts. Choose your influences wisely because they become the building blocks of your mental environment. Emotions are deeply connected to the mind. What you think consistently creates how you feel, and how you feel influences how you act. If you let your mind spiral into worst case scenarios, you will live in anxiety. If you let your mind replay past mistakes, you will live in guilt. If you direct your mind to focus on gratitude, you will feel abundance. If you direct your mind to focus on progress, you will feel momentum. The mind is the thermostat of your emotional state. Controlling your mind means setting that thermostat intentionally instead of letting it fluctuate randomly. The mind also has the power to expand or shrink your vision. If your thoughts are small, your life will be small. If your thoughts are expansive, your life will expand. The limitations you perceive are often only in your mind. Many people never attempt great things because their mind convinces them it's impossible. But the reality is that what seems impossible now often becomes possible when the mind shifts. History is full of people who achieved the unthinkable simply because they refused to accept the limitations their minds tried to impose. And controlling your mind means refusing to settle for small visions. It means stretching your thinking, daring to imagine more, and allowing yourself to pursue what others believe is beyond reach. Finally, controlling your mind requires consistency. It is not a one-time choice. It is a daily practice. You cannot simply decide once to think positively or focus on goals and expect it to stick forever. The mind needs constant direction. Every morning you must decide what thoughts to plant. Every challenge you must decide what meaning to assign. Every moment you must decide where to put your focus. Control is not achieved through one big effort. It is achieved through thousands of small, intentional choices that compound over time. The reward is a mind that serves you instead of sabotages you, a mind that empowers instead of imprisons, a mind that creates possibilities instead of destroying them. Thank you for listening, and don't forget to like and subscribe.